The Montana highway stretches endless under a bruised sky, the kind of gray that sits heavy on your chest. 50 motorcycles roll in formation. Their engines a low thunder that rattles the bones of anyone who hears it coming. At the front rides Marcus Ghost Sullivan, leather vest worn like armor, silver hair whipping in the wind. His face is carved from years of bad decisions and harder roads. He doesn't smile much anymore. The Iron Shepherd's Motorcycle Club doesn't advertise. They don't need to. When 50 bikers show up in a town, people notice. When those bikers park outside the Riverside Diner at dawn, the whole county feels it. Ghost kills his engine. The silence that follows is somehow louder than the ride. Inside the diner, a woman stands by the coffee station, gripping a dish rag like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Her name is Elena Rodriguez. 32 years old but looks 50, dark circles under her eyes, hands shaking. Behind her, pressed against the booth, is her son, Michael, 7 years old, wearing a dinosaur t-shirt 2 sizes too small. Ghost walks in. The bell above the door sounds like a warning. Elena's voice breaks when she speaks. Are you Ghost Sullivan? He nods once. They took my son, she whispers. 2 days ago. The loan sharks, Kozlov's crew. I couldn't make the payment. They said they'll keep him until I bring them $50,000. I don't have $50,000. I don't have anything. Ghost looks at the boy in the booth. Michael isn't moving. His eyes are somewhere else, Mom. Ghost says slowly. That boy right there is your son. Elena's face crumbles. That's my younger son. They took Diego. He's 11. The diner goes cold. Outside, the other bikers are watching through the windows. They know that look on Ghost's face. They've seen it before. It never ends well for someone. Ghost leans in close. Where did they take him? The old cement factory, east side. But you can't. They have guns. They have... How many? At least 15 men. Maybe more. They'll kill anyone who comes. They'll kill Diego if... Ghost turns to leave. Wait, Elena gasps. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Ghost stops at the door. Doesn't turn around. I know what it's like to lose a son, ma'am. Nobody should know that feeling. He walks out. The bell rings again. Before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. If this story is hitting you the way it's hitting me, hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a like. Drop a comment and tell me, what would you do if you were Ghost? Would you risk everything for a stranger's child? Because what happens next? What the Iron Shepherds did at that cement factory. It made national news, but the news didn't tell you the whole story. They didn't tell you about Ghost's past. They didn't tell you why a hardened biker with a rap sheet longer than the Montana highway would throw away his freedom for a kid he'd never met. Stay with me, because in about 8 minutes, you're going to find out the real reason Ghost took this case. And when you hear it, everything you think you know about motorcycle clubs, about justice, about redemption, it's all going to change. The police couldn't save Diego. The FBI wouldn't even take the call. But 50 bikers with a death wish, that's a different story. And Ghost, he wasn't just riding to save that boy. He was riding to save himself. The Iron Shepherds gather in the parking lot. Ghost stands on the bed of a pickup truck, addressing his brothers. These aren't Sunday riders. These are men who've done time, seen violence, buried friends. Their vests tell stories written in patches and blood. Kozlov's crew grabbed an 11-year-old boy, Ghost says. His voice carries like gravel in a blender. Holding him for ransom at the old cement factory. 15 armed men, maybe more. They're expecting the mother to show up with cash. They're not expecting us. A biker named Reaper, 6'4", arms like tree trunks, spits tobacco juice. What's the play, Ghost? We go in quiet. We get the boy. We don't kill anyone unless they force our hand. But make no mistake, if they hurt that kid, we burn the whole place down. Chains, the club's sergeant-at-arms, steps forward. He's been riding with Ghost for 20 years. Brother, you know what this means. We go to war with the Russian Mafia. We're painting targets on our backs. Club comes first. Always has. Ghost meets his eyes. That boy didn't choose this life. We did. If the club won't stand for him, then the club stands for nothing. Silence. Then one by one, every biker nods. They mount up. But before they ride, Chains pulls Ghost aside. "You gonna tell them why this matters so much to you?" Ghost's jaw tightens. "They don't need to know. Maybe they do. Maybe we all do." Ghost walks away. But Chains is right. There's a reason Ghost hasn't slept in 3 years. There's a reason he sees the face of a child every time he closes his eyes. 15 years ago, Ghost had a family. A wife named Sarah, a son named Jacob. They lived in a small house in Billings with a white picket fence and a dog named Copper. Ghost wasn't a biker then. He was a truck driver, working 70-hour weeks to keep the lights on. One night he came home to find the house dark. The door kicked in. Sarah on the kitchen floor, unconscious. Jacob's room empty. The men who took Jacob were debt collectors for a gambling ring. Ghost owed $20,000 from a poker game gone wrong. They said they'd keep the boy until Ghost paid. He sold everything, begged everyone. Couldn't come up with the money fast enough. 3 days later, they found Jacob's body in a drainage ditch outside town. Ghost's son was 9 years old. The men who killed him were never caught. The police closed the case. Said there wasn't enough evidence. Ghost learned a hard truth that day. The law doesn't protect people like him. The law doesn't protect kids whose fathers make mistakes. So Ghost made his own law. He joined the Iron Shepherds, learned to fight, learned to survive. Spent 15 years riding the edge between justice and vengeance, trying to fill the hole where his son used to be. And now, here's Elena Rodriguez, standing in a diner with the same look Sarah had. Here's Diego, 11 years old, same age Jacob would have been. Here's Ghost's chance to rewrite the ending. The cement factory looms ahead, a skeleton of rust and broken windows. 2 guards stand at the entrance, smoking cigarettes and laughing about something cruel. Ghost signals the crew. They split into 3 groups. Reaper takes 10 men around the back. James takes another group to the east side. Ghost leads the frontal approach with the rest. They don't rev their engines. They coast in, ghosts on wheels. The guards don't see them until it's too late. The first guard hits the ground before he can yell. Janes has him in a chokehold, squeezing until the man goes limp. The second guard reaches for his radio. Ghost is faster. He drives a fist into the man's solar plexus, then catches him as he falls. "Where's the boy?" Ghost hisses. The guard wheezes, eyes rolling. Second floor, loading dock. Kozlov's up there. Ghost zip-ties him and drags him into the shadows. The crew moves inside. The factory is a maze of concrete and decay. Water drips from broken pipes. Somewhere above, voices echo, Russian, angry, impatient. Ghost's heart pounds, but his hands are steady. This is what he's trained for. This is what he's lived for since Jacob died. They climb the stairs in single file. At the top, a hallway stretches toward double doors. Light spills from the crack beneath. Shadows move inside. Reaper's voice crackles over the radio clipped to Ghost's vest. In position. Back exit secured. No movement. Chains whispers through the comms. East side clear. Spotted 2 more guards on the catwalk, neutralized. Ghost peers through a crack in the doors. Inside, 15 men surround a table. Guns, money, drugs scattered like party favors. And in the corner, tied to a metal chair, is Diego Rodriguez. The boy's face is bruised. His wrists are raw from the ropes. He's crying, but silently, like he's learned that making noise only makes things worse. At the head of the table sits Viktor Kozlov, 50 years old, built like a bull, tattoos crawling up his neck. He's laughing at something one of his men said. Doesn't even look at Diego. Ghost's blood turns to ice. This is the moment where everything changes. The Iron Shepherds have rules. They don't start wars with organized crime. They don't risk the club for outsiders. They survive by staying under the radar, but Ghost isn't here for the club. He's here for Jacob. He kicks open the doors. Get away from the boy. 15 guns swing in his direction. Kozlov stands slowly, smile fading. Who the hell are you? Someone who doesn't like bullies. Behind Ghost, 49 bikers flood the room. They fan out, surrounding Kozlov's crew. The odds are close enough to make things interesting. Kozlov's men hesitate. They weren't expecting this, Kozlov laughs. You ride in here, threaten me in my factory? You know who I work for. You know what happens to people who cross me. Ghost steps forward. I know exactly what happens. I've seen it. I've lived it. And I'm telling you right now, you let that boy go, or I burn this place down with you inside it. Big words from a dead man. Try me. The room holds its breath. Then Kozlov nods. One of his men walks toward Diego with a knife. Ghost's hand moves to his belt. Not for a gun. For something else. Wait, Kozlov says. Maybe we make a deal. You want the boy? Fine. Give me $100,000. Right now, we didn't bring money. Then you leave empty-handed, Ghost smiles. It's not a kind smile. I'm not leaving without him. Kozlov raises his gun. Everything happens at once. Kozlov pulls the trigger. Ghost dives left. The bullet sparks off a metal beam. Reaper tackles one of Kozlov's guards, chains, grabs another by the throat, and slams him into the wall. The room explodes into chaos, but Ghost doesn't fight. He runs straight for Diego. A guard swings at him. Ghost ducks, drives an elbow into the man's ribs, keeps moving. Another guard blocks his path. Ghost doesn't slow down. He lowers his shoulder and plows through him like a linebacker. Diego looks up, terrified. Ghost drops to his knees, pulls a knife from his boot and cuts the ropes. I've got you, kid. I've got you. Who are you? Diego whispers. Someone who should have been there before. Come on. He lifts Diego and turns to run. Kozlov is there, gun aimed at Ghost's chest. Put him down. Ghost doesn't move. Diego clings to his neck. You think you're a hero? Kozlov snarls. You think you can just walk in here and... I think, Ghost interrupts, that you're about to make the worst mistake of your life. Kozlov's finger tightens on the trigger, and then the doors burst open. Police. FBI. 30 agents in tactical gear. Rifles raised, voices shouting commands. Kozlov's face goes white. Ghost grins. Did I mention I called the cops before I came here? The room freezes. Kozlov's men drop their weapons. The police swarm in, cuffing everyone within reach. Kozlov tries to run, but Reaper clotheslines him. He hits the ground hard. An FBI agent approaches Ghost. Marcus Sullivan. That's me. We need you to come with us. You're under arrest for breaking and entering, assault, and about a dozen other charges. Ghost nods. I know. He hands Diego to chains. Get him to his mother. Diego grabs Ghost's vest. No, don't leave me. Ghost kneels down, looks the boy in the eyes. You're safe now. Your mom's waiting for you. You're going home. But what about you? Ghost's voice cracks. Just a little. Just enough. I'm going where I belong. The agent cuffs him, leads him away, but as Ghost passes Kozlov, he leans in close and whispers, You never asked why I cared so much about that boy. Kozlov glares. Why would I care? Because 15 years ago, men like you took my son. They killed him for $20,000. I couldn't save him. I couldn't stop them. I couldn't do anything but watch as the system failed us. So I swore that if I ever got another chance, I'd do whatever it took. I'd break every law. I'd sacrifice everything. I'd make sure no other father had to bury his son because the world didn't care. Kozlov's face pales. Your crew? Ghost continues. The FBI's been building a case against you for 3 years. They just needed someone crazy enough to get you on tape making a ransom demand. Congratulations. You're going away for life. Ghost smiles. And me, I'll do my time. But I'll do it knowing I saved that boy. I'll do it knowing Jacob's death meant something. That I finally got it right. The agent pulls him toward the exit. Behind him, Diego is crying, calling his name. Chains is carrying the boy out, whispering reassurances. And Ghost, for the first time in 15 years, Ghost feels something he thought was dead. Peace. 3 months later. Ghost sits in a county jail cell waiting for his sentencing. The Iron Shepherds visit every week. Chains brings news from the outside. The FBI made good on their promise. Ghost's cooperation got him a reduced sentence. 2 years, maybe 18 months with good behavior. Kozlov and his crew, 25 to life. Every single one of them. Diego and Elena, they left Montana, started over in Oregon. Elena got a job at a school. Diego's back in class, seeing a therapist, healing. They send letters to Ghost, every week without fail. One letter reads, You saved my son. You gave us our life back. I don't care what the courts say. You're a hero. And when you get out, you'll always have a family with us. Ghost reads that letter every night before he sleeps. The other bikers don't understand it. Chains visits one afternoon, sits across from Ghost in the visitation room. Was it worth it? Chains asks. Throwing away your freedom? The club's under investigation now because of you. We've got heat we didn't need. Ghost leans back. You remember Jacob? Of course. Every day for 15 years I woke up and asked myself, what if I'd been there? What if I'd fought harder? What if I'd done something different? I couldn't answer that. I couldn't change the past. But I could change the future. For Diego, for Elena, for every kid who's caught in the crossfire of someone else's greed. Chains nods slowly. You know the club's going to be here when you get out, right? We don't abandon family, I know, and Ghost. You're not the only one who's lost someone. We've all got ghosts. That's why we ride. That's why we're brothers. But you took your ghost and turned it into something good. That's rare, man. That's something. Ghost doesn't respond. He doesn't need to. When the sentencing comes, the judge is harsh but fair. 18 months. Eligible for parole in 12. Ghost accepts it without complaint because he knows the truth. The truth the courtroom will never understand. The truth the headlines will never print. Some chains are meant to be broken. Some rules are meant to be shattered. And sometimes the only way to honor the dead is to fight like hell for the living. On the day Ghost walks out of prison, the Iron Shepherds are waiting. 50 motorcycles lined up outside the gate. Chains at the front holding Ghost's vest. Welcome home, brother. Ghost pulls on the vest. Feels the weight of it. The brotherhood. The scars. The purpose. They ride, not toward anything specific, not away from anything either. Just forward. Together, because that's what you do when you've got nothing left but each other. And somewhere in Oregon, a boy named Diego is sitting in class, drawing a picture of a motorcycle. His teacher asks what it is. It's a hero, Diego says. His name is Ghost, and he saved my life. The teacher smiles, not understanding, but Diego does. He'll never forget the man who risked everything. The biker who saw him not as a ransom, not as a problem, but as someone worth saving. And maybe that's what redemption looks like. Not in grand gestures, not in perfect endings, but in the quiet knowledge that when it mattered most, you stood up, you fought, you made a difference, even if it cost you everything.